If you can't pass this basic investment quiz with 10 out of 10, then you should not be investing your money. What's going on, everybody? Brandon here from Ponzi Patrol. What we're going to be doing today is going through a basic investment quiz and answering the questions. There are only 10 of them, and I'm going to be explaining why the answers are what they are. So if you are newer to investing or you've been scammed before, then this should be helpful for you. Let's jump into it. Question number one here. This is on investor.gov. Question number one is: a relative encourages Leah to invest money in an opportunity guaranteed to pay a return of 22% per year. What should Leah do? Invest immediately, research if any celebrities have endorsed it, only invest if other relatives have already invested, ignore the opportunity. So the clear answer here is ignore the opportunity. The only other possible answer that's not listed would be to do more research. But since it says that it is guaranteed to pay a return of 22% per year, then that is a major red flag. So in this case, the answer is going to be ignore the opportunity. It doesn't matter if your relatives endorsed it. What are their credentials? Why do they know investments? It doesn't matter if celebrities have endorsed it, because, example, someone sent me a video with Floyd Mayweather endorsing GS Partners. And GS Partners is a clear Ponzi scheme. The owners were somewhat involved, very high ranked, at least in the Carabits Ponzi scheme. So, and that's a collapsed Ponzi scheme. So it doesn't matter if celebrities endorse it. It doesn't matter if other relatives endorse it. If there's a guaranteed 22% per year, which is a high return, ignore the opportunity. Okay, so affinity fraud refers to investment scams that prey upon members of identifiable groups such as religious or ethnic communities, the elderly, or professional groups. The fraudsters who promote affinity scams frequently are or pretend to be members of the group. So this is affinity fraud, and this is true. This is what's happening in, for example, Novatech. The owner of Novatech, one of them, is Cynthia Petion, and she goes by the Reverend Cynthia Petion. She has a website called The Reverend CEO. I have found no evidence that she's actually a reverend, and they talk about having faith and hope. And the reason they do this is because they want you to feel like you can trust them. If she's really a reverend, then of course she wouldn't lie, right? Wrong. So they're using that as a way to sell you into their scams. This is true. Question three: a Ponzi scheme is an investment fraud that pays existing investors with funds collected from new investors. Which of the following is a Ponzi scheme red flag? High returns with little or no risk, overly consistent returns, secretive or complex strategies, or all of these. So the answer here is all of these. High returns with little or no risk, that would be, example, Novatech is about 3% per week, and that's compounded. Whenever you compound that weekly, it ends up being about 365% per year. No audited investment that's a legitimate investment would ever pay anywhere close to that. In fact, I would say probably anything that you're going to get over 20% per year passive, meaning you just give them money, they invest it for you, and then they pay you back, that's probably going to be a scam. So at 20%, at 15%, I would start asking a lot of questions and doing a lot of research. I would do that anyways. Always suggest doing a lot of the correct research. But yeah, high returns, little no risk, major red flag. Overly consistent returns, same thing here. No trading account like Novatech, as an example. They've never had a losing week in over 4 years, around 4 years now. That's not possible. They're definitely not trading to get those returns. They're not actually getting any returns. That's why it's a Ponzi scheme. They're not audited, so there's no proof of any returns. So being that it's that consistent and high returns, both those combined, clear-cut Ponzi scheme. Secretive or complex strategies. We know that they, example, Novatech, they say that they're trading, but there's no proof of that. I haven't seen anywhere any proof of it at all. It doesn't matter if we saw proof because it would be from them. We need to see audited proof that a third party audits. So all of these are flags of a Ponzi scheme. Investing quiz. Let's see, question 4. Which of the following is not a Ponzi scheme red flag? So pressure to invest immediately, risk of losing money, unsolicited offers that seem too good to be true, promises of guaranteed high investment returns. So the answer is going to be risk of losing money, but this is a bit tricky because a lot of promoters of Ponzi schemes will say, oh, just know that this is risky. They'll say that, but then what they do is they go on to say, we've never had a losing week in 4 years. Look at how much money you can make. They break out a compound interest calculator and show you how much money you can make 5 years from now. If you invest $1,000, you'll have 200 million in 5 years, as an example. So what they say is that, oh, this is risky, but then every single other thing that they say is designed to lure you in and trick you into investing into the scam. So this one's a little bit tricky, but risk of losing money is not a red flag. Every investment has some risk, right? There's a major difference. I need to clarify really fast. There's a major difference between a scam and a risk. So a high risk investment is not the same thing as a scam. So people always conflate these, all the promoters and scammers out there conflate these two things. They say everything's risky. Well, a scam isn't risky. A scam is a scam. Much different. Okay, question 5. Two-step verification does not add further security to your online investment account if you already have a strong password. This is false. Two-factor authentication should always be set up for any online websites where you have any valuable information. Always use different passwords on different websites also. And two-factor authentication especially whenever it deals with your money or important data. So that's false. Set that up. If you fund an investment, so this is question 6 here, if you fund an investment that turns out to be a scam, you will likely receive a full refund. This is false. So you can basically kiss your money goodbye if you invest into a scam, an unregistered scam, so Novatech as an example, or Cash FX, if anybody's been part of that, USI Tech. There are a lot of these over the years, and I mean, now we're seeing them like crypto program. There's so many out there, but if you invest in these things, you have almost no way to get your money back. The only way you could possibly get your money back is by reporting to the correct authorities. So if you're in the US, it'll be the SEC. So you want to report this, and you want to get everyone else that you know in the scam to report it as well. Because whenever they get flooded with complaints, that's the only time they might go in, shut it down, and set up a receivership where in 5 to 10 years you may get some of your money back. But generally speaking, you won't get your money back if you invest in these. Over 90% of people that invest in scams actually lose their money. Scams like Ponzi schemes. So you will not receive a full refund. It's unlikely that a fraudster would call out other scammers in a scheme to steal your money. So this is a good one. This is false, of course. So this happens a lot. I actually did an interview recently. I'll pop that up right here. This guy was saying at the very beginning of the interview, he was saying that he's actually done videos on his channel going over the biggest scams in history. And one of the videos that he said that he did, or one of the top 10 scams in history he did, was with Charles Ponzi, which is where the name Ponzi scheme comes from. Well, if he's talking about scams, then he won't scam you, right? No, that's not true. Everything else on his channel is a Ponzi scheme. Everything he promotes for the high commissions are Ponzi schemes. So in that case, this would definitely be false. Question 8, Tilly hears about an investment opportunity that will pay a guaranteed 50% return every 3 months. The promoter reiterates that there's absolutely no risk. Tilly is suspicious because the investment return seems unrealistic. All investments have risk. It is likely a scam, or all of these. So the answer is all of these. The only thing that is a little bit misleading here that I would say is where it says that there's no risk. So if you hear about an investment that has no risk, then run. It's a scam. There's always risk in investments, but promoters still say a lot of times, take Novatech for example, they'll say there is risk. and they'll say it's high risk, but then they'll go on to mislead you to try to show you everything that builds their credibility. Almost all of it is lies or things that are irrelevant, but they'll try to remove the risk from your mind, even though they tell you directly that there's risk. So this one here is, I mean, the clear answer is all of these, but they don't have to say that there's absolutely no risk. Even if they say there's risk, that doesn't matter. All of these. Okay, question 9. Which of the following is the best way to tell if an individual is a licensed and registered investment professional? So this is really important to check. So you want to trust your gut feeling. I feel like that's what a lot of people do, which is not a good idea. Or listening to people that tell you that if they say, "Oh, Novatech is a registered hedge fund," they're not, and no, that doesn't matter. You need to look it up actually. So trust your gut feeling. Explore their social media accounts. Use the search tool on investor.gov. So, well, the answer here is use the search tool on investor.gov. So you can go to investor.gov and search whoever is selling you something to see if they actually have a license. Okay, number 10, question 10. If disclosure reported appears in red during the search of an investment professional on investor.gov, you should click on full report to get the details on the complaint, sanction, or judgment filed against the investment professional. So the answer here is true. This probably doesn't apply to most people watching this because most of the people are being scammed by Ponzi schemes where nothing is registered and there are no registered agents. But definitely, whenever you check investor.gov, make sure that if you do find that they are there and listed, then make sure they don't have disclosure reported to where you would want to check it. So the answer here is true. Okay, so we got 10 out of 10, and I would expect you to be getting 10 out of 10 as well on this quiz. If you can't take this quiz and pass it with 10 out of 10, then you shouldn't be investing your money, as I said at the beginning of this video. And I'm going to be putting out another video soon that covers all of the red flags about Ponzi schemes, how to spot them, especially whenever you have 2 or more red flags together. It guarantees that it's a Ponzi scheme and that it's going to collapse. So if you want to see that, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Also, like and share this video if you know someone who needs to hear this and needs to take this quiz. And I'll put a link to the quiz in the description. I'll see you in the next one. Keep patrolling.